It's so far.
All right, there we go. How's it going? How's it going? Give people a couple more minutes. We'll get started. Gonna try and run through things pretty quickly today. Sorry about the late. I had to get some extra stuff done for my job. I got to go back in tomorrow too. So
Good
on the
morning.
ground. Good morning.
I'll be just listening, senor. I'm driving home.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thanks. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, sorry to the people that I was late. I know you guys all have your days and you guys make plans and stuff like that, and it does disrupt your day. So apologies on that. This is something I can't really control sometimes. So
It's all good. It suits me down under.
well, that's good.
It sounded like Taz was just waking up earlier, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, so I think this would probably be all we might have for right now. Let's see real quick. Give me just a second, just looking through my messages. Yeah, you could tell like when people are feeling a lot of hopium / hypium, especially when you're like in Discord and you're consistently getting those BS DMs where they're trying to like, oh, 260% potent group, yada yada. I get those all the time. Let's see.
You reckon it's all fake opium at the moment?
So yeah, I don't think this is sustainable at all. I think it was a liquidity move, to be honest with you. A lot of people are in a different belief. That's okay. Everybody can have their own perspective of the way the charts read to them, but I think it's pretty obvious. I think just people have to come to reality with it, which usually doesn't happen until after it already falls over. And then we'll form a new lows,
Yes.
and then they're like, oh, nobody saw that coming, that event. And that's usually how this thing works out. And like that's what I was kind of posting on today, like on my Twitter. I was just like, dude, like, and it's not people coming at me. It's just, you consistently see people coming at people that are bearish and obviously didn't catch the moves and didn't play any of these moves because they're waiting for the lows first. And at the end of the day, it's all about different people's strategy, right? Like when people sit there and tell other people, like people are consistently coming at Capo, Anonymous, and a few others, and even and I don't necessarily agree with Savvy's assessment that the market will get a 3K. I just don't. It doesn't logically make any sense to go below previous cycles bottom, let alone revisit it, right? So for me, price action has to always remain in a trend that's above, multi-year cycles and so on and so forth to be bullish. You go down to 3K, you're going to wash out most of the market. And then, at that point, you'll be lucky to get people to come back in it'll take a substantial amount of time for recovery for that before that would happen. Do I think it can happen? Sure. But, it's more of a market move for me that I just don't think market makers will take. Yeah, so let's kind of run through the chart and I'll discuss kind of what I'm seeing and what I think is going on here. Let's see, share screen. So as far as BTC goes, let me just kind of do that real quick. I don't know why I have another background. Okay. As far as BTC goes, you had this move up, right? It's pretty substantial. Really, what I'm kind of seeing here and what I think this is for me, right, is I think this is a similar move to over here, right? I think like we had this move down. We obviously had the falling wedge. A lot of people missed it. And then the market took off in that move and then kind of made a little bit of a higher high. And really, we could kind of be like up in this area, right? But if you look at this area, we're pretty much, even if they can get another pump out of this, like this would be the top of the move, right? And this is where they kind of lead you on to think that price is going to continue to the upside, and then they dump it. And really, that's what this whole move looks like. It looks like a very fast move. That's really looking to take price action to a low, if not a lower low. And it's not looking very safe to me. My thought was, and I've stated this many times, that they were going to move for the M here. They've already, in my eyes, formed an ABC pattern, which is basically where price comes up, hits the A, comes back to the B, the order block, and then runs up to the C. So the higher move. So an ABC is typically just a higher move. And we got kind of a bearish divergence div going on here, right? If the market wanted to take this position, I believe the market would have taken this position, right? And if you look here on the daily already, we moved price up, created an order block fill over here from previous highs. We got above those highs, right? So this was the very bearish portion of the chart, the middle part of the chart. If I were to take a fib, this would be like the 50, yada, yada, yada. This is the most bearish portion of the chart. We pushed price above it, which we know typically up in these zones, this is where the excitement starts, right? Because when price was moving on Bitcoin, everybody was in disbelief and didn't want to buy until price got around these upper zones. And this is the same thing we have going on right now with price, is we've got a bunch of people, bottoms in, yada, yada, hyped up. Where are we at again? At the high, right? This is not a low. It's not a middle. This is the high of the zone. Like if you were to take the zone and you were to put it in a bubble, a price action bubble, you have your high and you have your low. This is the high end of the zone. This is the low end of the zone. Anybody buying here, in my eyes, I mean, anything that's pumped or Bitcoin, not something that's rolling the floor, is being illogical. And I don't want to be too harsh, but I think stupid, right? You'd have to be dumb to buy here. And you're probably like, well, what if it breaks out and goes higher? Okay, if it breaks out and goes higher, there's look, at the end of the day, it's about strategy, right? It's about creating a strategy or having a strategy. So if it breaks out and goes higher, that's okay. Because why? Because more than likely, price is going to come back and retest. You will get a chance for entry. But you don't take the long on the resistance. You are below the resistance of the price action. This thing is not showing that it wants to break out yet. There's no proof of the move. The proof of the move is let the price break out, let it come back, confirm the support. And if you're scared you missed the bottom, you're better off buying on the retest than you are on the breakout. And you're probably like, well, I would have missed all that. If you're taking a move on a breakout move, there's no way you're selling that resistance because you think this thing's going to moon. That's logically how people think. If people are taking a price zone here, they are taking it here because they're expecting much higher prices. They're not taking it here to take the move up another 3K and sell and let it come back. That's really the way we have to look at this chart. There's the possibilities here. Sure, it could break out. I don't deny that. And, you know, there's some obvious portions in the chart that could support that. But it's risk to reward. All right. So if I were to take this from a risk to reward standpoint, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. I think I have a short position somewhere over here. Long position. Yeah, typically, I mean, I'm a long person. That's why I only have long up there. I don't have a short position up there. Let me see if I can find a short position over here real quick. But the market's been what it is at the end of the day. You just have to follow the price action. You can't sit there and deny price action. So if you were to take a short, it's all about your risk to reward. Look, for me, it's this. Or sorry, I should take the long position because technically people would be trying to take the long. But if you were to take a short, that's a pretty good risk to reward, right? Your risk is for price to push up to here. Your reward is to come all the way down to here. Now, if we were to take a long position, right? And we come over here and we take the long. Here's your risk to reward. Which one's more rewarding here?
Short.
The short. The short is more rewarding. That's why when people sit there and say, oh, 30K, 30K, 30K. Why does the market maker have to go to 30K? What's your reward here? What's the market maker's reward? Which side is in more favor of the market maker?
The shortest.
To bring price down. That's the more favorable move here. It really is. And this is really kind of why I wanted to talk about this today. And I thought this was very important because, you know, to elaborate this on Twitter, it's very difficult to talk to people on there because then you have to answer question after question after question because you could post a chart all day, but do people understand it? And the other reality is like when you look at it from this perspective, right? So let's get into the zone that we think downside can come down to here, right? Do we think it'll move in a straight line? No, price doesn't move in a straight line. And this is the part where people get confused and they don't understand price action. They think that because price bounced, that signifies a bottom. No, it signifies that price bounced. That's all it signifies at the end of the day. It doesn't signify anything else. So if we look at kind of the move, this would be technically the last down before the last up, but we'll go with this one. We'll say this is the last down before the last up. So your high end move here.
Okay,
is
well, come on,
roughly-
watching. Yay! Come on.
My bad, guys. Your high end of your move here is around 12K, right? So that's your high end of your move. Is price going to go straight down to 12K? Anybody?
No.
No, there's
No.
no way in hell price is going to go straight down to 12K. That's why the illogical thought here is that this thing's going to moon, yada, yada, yada. People are going to miss the move, so on and so forth. I bought a lot of alts through this downtrend move. Why? Because we had a trend reversal forming, right? Trend reversal, move. Some people right now, they're sitting in cash and they're waiting for lower lows. I don't think that that's at all illogical. I just don't. Because really, where's the order block start? Well, your highest order block is here. This is your highest order block. Let's get a little more erratic. Let's just say that they're not even gonna look for the last down before the last up. They're just gonna go for the last up. Right? Your high order block. This is your high order block, technically. And then this pullback right here would be your low order block before the moves shifted out, right? So you would have all this pricing. Let's say they just want to come to the high end of the zone. Well, that's 12.5, right? So that's 12.5 as your high. So really, your reward potential here from this position is sitting at, in my opinion, of course, right? Based on looking at the chart, a 3.81. That's almost a 4-to-1 move, right? As far as risk to reward. It's a 0.075 risk. Because your risk is a 3K move, or your risk is a what? 13K move, right? Or your reward, sorry, your reward. Now, if you're taking it from the perspective that only up, in my opinion, again, your risk is significantly more than your reward. Your P&L does not make sense here. It's negative 549. That's what your P&L is. So to long from this position logically makes no sense. Could you spot long? Sure, you could spot long. Would you spot long a breakout? No, I think that's not logical. I think that's FOMO. Now, the only thing you can do on a short is take a short, right? But again, look at risk to reward. If your metrics are in place to where you can withstand a 3K move, aka Bitcoin moving up to like 28K, 29K, if you can withstand that and say your liquidations may be a little bit higher because you're doing like 5x, 10x, boom, you're good. You got plenty of room to move down. Otherwise, there's just not enough reward here. And you're probably like, well, it's going to go up here and it's going to break out and so on and so forth. Not you guys specifically, but maybe some of you. But the fact is this is the most solid point in the chart here. This is going to be the biggest hurdle / resistance for Bitcoin. You have to look at price. Look at the support, right? Boom, 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 boom. As soon as it breaks this, what does it do? It just tanks. And it can't even get back up to it. It can't get back up to it. It doesn't have enough momentum. So it has to go deeper to try and build the momentum. But even if price gets back up here, it's going to be exhausted. It's going to be exhausted. We have to understand that. It's not, and if it gets back up here, everybody's going to be screaming 40K, 50K. They're not going to take profit. They're not. Because they're going to think, oh, new bull market. We're not even at the halving yet. That's what people got to understand. Like, even if you're in the boat of the halving, which I'm not fully in, right? Even if you're in the boat of the halving, we're not near the halving yet. Hasn't happened. The breakout typically, if you're in that belief of the halving, happens well after the halving. So that would be 2024 going into 2025 at best. And that's really where I think the top will be. But if you look here, we're under the 200 weekly moving average, right? And if we got above it, we could definitely drive some FOMO, right? But it's going to be, for me, a distribution. And I stated that on Twitter the other day. You guys are probably like, what do you mean by distribution? I can logically show you on here what that would look like. So if I were to just kind of get rid of that, we'll delete that ABC that I got going on right there. Again, my M is still not invalidated. My ABC is not invalidated yet, unless it breaks 25.3. Then it would invalidate it and price would come up. But here's what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is, do you guys see how price is starting around here? And if price stays where it's at, it's going to be like this.
Yeah, it's the whales distributing and selling all they got, right?
Yeah, they are selling price down. When you start to see these round moves, that is what is happening to you as you speak. You have to understand that. You don't get round moves unless the market maker is literally selling into your buying pressure. So they're selling at a premium up here. What are they doing? Well, they're keeping price elevated up here. So whenever you buy, you have to buy between here and here, here and here, here and here, here and here. And you keep doing it, right? You keep doing it. And you're just like, they're going to break out. They're going to break out. They're going to break out. And then eventually this thing starts to lose steam. And what does the market maker start to do? Well, as you continue to buy, the market maker starts to sell into you heavier and heavier and heavier. And then you get these drops, boom. And you get a move back up, reactionary bounce, because nothing moves straight down again. And then boom, drop. And then you get a move back up. This is retail buying back up. So market makers is not even doing anything here. They're not doing anything. Retail is driving this price. Boom, comes back up. Market makers are like, all right, good. Boom, dropping it. And then what happens? Trickle, 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 no price action. Whenever you're seeing no price action, guess who's buying? No, the market maker's buying this. They're buying this, and then they drive this up a little bit to break it through resistance, right? And once they break the resistance, retail does all the rest of the work for them. Then what do? They push through the next resistance, right? And then retail does the rest for them, and they sell back to it, right? So where they started driving price, they sell price back to where they drove it. So again, where did they start driving price again? They started driving price here. So what do you think is going to happen here? As
Yeah,
time
back
kind of
again.
continues to forward, they're going to start selling back into it again. And what's going to happen? One sell, two sells, three sells. And what happens after the third sell? What is
Well,
that? What shape is
drop.
this? What
And
shape is that?
Head and shoulders.
the MC.
It's a head and shoulders. This is why head and shoulders work. Because they keep coming back to where they had to push price back up. And they keep enticing you to buy the premium zone. Where's the premium zone? The premium zone that everybody's buying at is right here.
Mhm.
That's where everybody keeps buying. That's why head and shoulders works.
Would
So-
you expect the second shoulder to maybe wick a little bit higher, just to drag him in and then dump?
It could. What I'm looking for is the bodies though, right?
Yeah.
The bodies are the most important part here. And this is why I said this could last several weeks or months, because obviously they're just dragging this thing out. Look, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 weeks. That's one whole month. And then what? 1, boom. And then 2, 3, 4. They drop it back down. And then what they do, pump it back up again. But keep in mind, once you've tested twice, that third time is going to be probably lower bodies or even maybe a little bit higher bodies, but it will stay below the head, indicating that price is going to drop hard. If we catch a head and shoulders here, Bitcoin will see new lows. It will see new lows. Now, keep in mind also, does it have to be all the way down here? No. Because what do we have? What do we have right here? What is this? What is this? These two. This is a falling wedge, right? So what will they more than likely do if they're to drop it? They're going to drop down. Everybody's going to be looking for price to hit the lower zone, the previous order block, and they're going to bounce out the wedge. And then what? Bottoms in again. And then what's going to happen?
Back down.
You can't get played on these moves. You got to understand, you got to look ahead of what the market maker is trying to do. You have to understand the game. The game is not in the favor of positive economics. Look, I've looked at the data, looked at the data. The only thing the bulls are disputing is price action. They're saying price action. That still doesn't match the data. The data is bad. PPI, bad. CPI, bad. I'm sure core CPI is going to be bad too. And then, oh, well, it's just a one-off month. No, these are all narratives. You cannot flip a story to fit your narrative. You don't fight the Fed, you follow the Fed. The Fed leads, you follow price, right? You understand the move. I can tell you the SPY, Tesla, all of them showing the same thing. So really, if we can't break out of here by next week, guess where we're going back to? That order block. And if we can't break out and we come and pop back up again, guess where we're going back to? If we pop back out that order block, we're going right back here, 23.8. Everybody's going to say this is the breakout. Look, they're forming high. They're going. And then you'll get another shoulder. And then price is going to tank. So that's really kind of what I see here. And this is the low version, right? This is the low version. This is if price cannot break this zone. If price cannot break this zone, it's going to be a bigger distribution zone. This smaller distribution zone turns into a bigger distribution zone. And you know what that looks like? Looks like this. That's what it looks like. And what do we have here?
Oh, gee.
Head and shoulders and a distribution zone.
Exactly. Just a smaller version.
It's almost the same.
When you round off, it's bad. It is very bad. Round, drop. Round, drop. Round, drop. Head and shoulders right here. Obvious plain as day. And this is what I think will start forming here. Even if they can push price higher, I think it will be the same result. That's all. That's kind of the biggest thing I want people to understand. These plays, you cannot get sucked into them. What has been running in the market? You guys want me to show you what has been running? I'll show you what has been running in the market. Let me find this real quick. Hold on 1 second. I got quite a few I want to show you guys. My market cap. Give me just a second. Okay, not this one, by the way, but let's go with Doge Elon. Let's check it out. How's Doge Elon doing? Oh, look at that. What's it look like? Looks like it's trying to take off. Let's come over here to let me pick another one out here. Let me go with Shiba. Let me go Shiba. Oh, I want to BitShiba. I didn't mean to go BitShiba. Sorry about that. Shiba Inu. Oh, look at that. Liquidity picked up well ahead of this pump. Look at that. Let's come over here. And this is why I said it will take a while, right? And I'm going to explain that a little further too, because I think these things are going to pump, but I think you need to get the hell out of them after they pump. Let's come over here to Doge. Look at Doge. See how it's starting to move up? See how I had this spike right here? It's already starting to move up towards it again. It's gonna all these are gonna spike. All these shit coins are gonna spike. Hold on, Floki. And if you guys pay attention, I had these on my watch list because I'm trying to watch them. Look at Floki. Look at this.
Bang.
I can't say it enough, guys. When shit coins run, the market's done. That's it. Does it mean you can't get a little more fuel out of the tank? Sure, you can hop on the ride, but don't ride it all the way down. Look at all these people right here. What is this guy saying?
Throwing spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks.
This is your average investor right now. Does that sound like a bear market? Does that sound like we just went through all this detriment and all of this pain?
Sounds like highly speculative, somebody who's never been like really through a bear market.
It shows me that retail is not wrecked. And if retail is not wrecked, the job of the Fed is not achieved. And you're probably like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Everything, Fed ever said everything's good. Because if people are doing this kind of shit with their money, they have too much money. And if they have too much money, they're going to continue to do what? Not investing. What are they going to continue to do in their everyday lives? They're going to go to Starbucks, get their $15 coffee, $20 coffee. They're going to go down the store. They're going to buy some new Gucci shoes. They're going to go buy some Gucci purses. They're going to buy, hundreds of thousands of dollars of this and that, buy some new cars. What's that going to do to the economy when we haven't caught up in production yet? What does that do to the prices of things? Cause inflation to go back up. But I don't want you guys to believe that I'm in the camp to think that inflation will ramp higher than it already has. I'm not. I am in the camp of that inflation will now become sticky, right? Which means we hit a certain level of inflation, and guess what? The Fed can't get it to go any lower. Now, some people are in the camp that the Fed will tolerate that. I'm not, because it's never happened. And I don't believe it's going to happen. I just don't. I think anybody saying that the Fed can just deal with higher inflation rates has no clue how economics work at all. Zero. Do you know what that would do? Let's say the Fed operated under 4% a year. Understand that's 4% compounding of money that you lose a year. You're already currently losing 2% against your paycheck every single year, compounding. That's 2% on 2% on 2% on 2% on 2%. So that's 2, then 4, then 8, then 6, then 8, and 10. As the years go by, you are losing that much off your paycheck. This is why you should, when you're working and stuff like that, every 3 to 4 to 5 years, look to rotate out of your job and find a job that give you 10% or better pay upgrade, right? More pay. And you're probably like, well, why would you do that? Just take your raises. Typically, most jobs will give you 25 cents to $1, right? Maybe another $1 per hour, something like that. It doesn't work out at the end of the day to 2%. It just doesn't. The normal raises do not work out to 2% inflation per year. You could take them for a while, but to get a real raise to keep up with inflation, you technically have to move jobs. That's just how this works. Now, the only other way you could stay ahead of that's from the job perspective. The other way you could stay ahead of inflation is investing. And that's typically the norm. But you can't invest in an environment that is not favorable to investing. If you put $1 into assets in 2022, your portfolio was destroyed. If you held in 2022, your portfolio was destroyed. That's why when you see these bulls and stuff like that, like, ha, 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 like these bears, ha, ha. It's like nobody is a bear 24/7, 365 a year their entire life. People that are bears are only bears when it makes sense to be a bear. That's called adapting to the market. If you're a permabull, you have no clue how to adapt. I'll just put it like that, right? You have no clue how to adapt to the market, which means that you will lose money in these massive downturns every single time they happen. Does that mean that we have to predict the bottom? No. Does that mean that we have to predict the top? No, it doesn't. It just means that you have to be able to see what's coming and say, hey, maybe it's not a good time to cross a street because there's a bus running down the road right now at 150 miles an hour. And if a bus hits me, even though I have the light to go, if that bus hits me, that's definitely going to kill me at that speed. But some people are willing to walk in front of that bus. AKA, I'm just going to hold. I'm hodled. I'm a permabull. A permabull, again, to me, is somebody who logically has no idea how to even read markets. Macro is key. It's a very key portion. And I don't think you have to be macro oriented every single year. I think you have to be macro oriented at least every 5 to 10 years, because that's how often these occur. These occur every 5 to 10 years. These downturns. Technically, the biggest ones I've seen are typically every 10 years, right? But you get these massive run-ups and then you get a correction. And really, we could be in a sideways market, not only in crypto, but also in stocks and other assets for 10 years. And I've showed you guys that on the S&P. If we come over here to the S&P, like, we haven't formed new highs. We fell back below again. We fell back below my resistance, guys. Look at this. The insanity. Like, people are calling for 4,600, 4,500. I was like, you guys are high. You guys are literally high. Look, I put a channel on the move, right? And then if you put it on the weekly, these are your highs and lows. That's not a bias move. That's not a me being overly bearish. I'll tell you this isn't going to end well. Why is this not going to end well?
Because it's coming up on that resistance. It's not going to even make it to the top of the channel. It's just going to go down.
Make it to the top of the channel. That's a key indicator that this rally is dead. It's done. If you cannot keep your current momentum, again, this is momentum, right? Momentum. You're running at a certain speed. You keep it up, keep it up. if you're running around a track and you're beating everybody, but you're doing, let's say you're going 5 miles an hour running around a track, and you were beating everybody by a whole lap. But let's say everybody else is going 4 miles an hour, right? These are your other traders that are paying attention. And eventually you're going to run out of energy. And what's that going to do to your 5 miles an hour? You're probably going to cool down to like 2 miles an hour. And then guess what? They're going to catch up to you and they're going to pass you. So the rally was running and now the rally is out of energy. And the bears are catching up with the bulls now at these levels. And really, I think this thing might just roll over where it sits. We're going to have 2 things happen here. I'm going to give you both scenarios, bullish and bearish. I'll give you both because I try my best not to be one-sided. I want to be as neutral, market neutral as possible. So I'll give you the best case scenario. Best case scenario is bulls somehow pull this out and they can rip this thing straight up. I'm one of these candles, right? I'm one of these candles. This will create so much FOMO in the market. What do you think this will do?
Bunch of
If-
people will buy in, people won't take profit.
If you saw the S&P do this in a week, would you trust that move?
No. Quick moves, false move.
I would take this as a top of the market. This thing's tanking. And believe me, I want to see this. Why? It would be the best confirmation in the world on a put. The best confirmation. I would put everything I saw, everything that had good profit. I would just start putting puts, because we are not in the economic environment for something like this to happen. We're just not. This would be on Excite Bulls. Everybody would be buying the high. Everybody be holding. They'd be like, oh, this thing just reversed. It's going up, yada, yada, yada. Now, could you make some nice profit? Oh, yeah, you can make some nice profits off that. But you got to learn how to get out when it happens. And if you're not able to emotionally get out of the move and you just want to hold it, you're done. You're going to get wrecked. You're going to get destroyed. This thing's going to come back on you fast. Worst case scenario is we are in the same thing I said with Bitcoin, a bigger what? Distribution. Look at that nice round top, guys. Ignore the gap. Just draw the circle. It's a massive distribution. And if this massive distribution plays out, I could see the S&P just breaking the low and coming straight down to something lower on a longer period of time. What month is this? September. This is why I said just because trend breaks doesn't mean trend is done, right? You can get above the trend line. This is an inflection point. This is a point where you got to start really watching the charts. Why? Because either the market's going to break out or it's going to make a massive move to the downside. Somewhere's in this move. One of those 2 things are going to happen. Again, S&P for right now, even though I believe this thing's coming down, I will be honest. Where is it at? Where's the S&P at? It's still in its channel. So until it breaks the channel here or here, it's bullish. That's just the facts. But again, looking at economics and stuff like that, I just don't see this thing as continuing. Future tutorials on what?
On futures.
Oh, on how to do futures?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't done any. I did post some videos and stuff like that for you guys. I'll get some more like better educational ones and post them up for you guys as far as how to get into futures and stuff like that. It's actually fairly simple through TD Ameritrade. And that's also why I told you guys to use that over the other ones. I know the other ones offer you free stocks and stuff, but again, when they're offering you incentives, it's because they need liquidity and they're trying to get your liquidity in their platform. And typically once people invest, they don't trade as often, or maybe they do, right? Sometimes people do, sometimes people don't. So they either hold their liquidity there, which is good for them because they can utilize your liquidity however you want. They just got to have it available when you want to cash out. And then if not, right, if you're consistently trading, they'll make money off the fees. So that's how a lot of other platforms operate. TD Ameritrade does make money off the fees. They do make some money off the puts, but they don't. They're pretty much, I guess, the biggest platform as far as people that use it. And so that means it's really liquid. And that means it has less likeness of, you know, them trying to take your funds or anything like that. Although I don't think any platform really can if it's SEC approved and all that stuff like that. When it comes to stocks.
Senor Will, one thing that I can tell you, like, you know, doing the options on TD Ameritrade and Weibo doesn't give me like updated prices. It's more like guessing just based on the price. And with TD Ameritrade, they almost give you live pricing, you know, it's on the options, how it's moving up, down.
Yep.
And I'm guessing maybe they kind of screw you a few cents on the options, you know, doing that. You don't even know.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. A lot of them aren't very transparent about their pricing and stuff too. I know with TD also, they'll give you post pricing. So if you guys don't know what that is, that's basically after hour pricing. Is basically people will put in orders for buys or sells. And so it'll tell you kind of what the open will look like the next day. So TD Ameritrade's really good at kind of putting that together for you. Like, all right, well, you know, even though we closed here, the market's probably going to open at 3988 or whatever. And so this is where you would buy in tomorrow if it opened. And you would get that post-dated pricing of whatever the price will be on open. So that's why I like that one the best. Another thing too, pointing at the S&P, and this is something I'm seeing that looks really bad. I'm looking at the RSI and I'm looking at the at the stochastic. And what are you guys seeing here?
The ascending wedge.
It's a rising wedge on both. So if this is a rising wedge on both, it's to me, it's not a good indication, right? Not only is it a rising wedge, we've also got a bearish dip, right? You got the bearish dip there. So you got price up here, you got price up here, you got strength here, and you got higher strength here, but you aren't able to form a higher high. So hidden bearish on top of a rising wedge. I think that this is a big build to take everybody's money. Again, for me at the end of the day, this was a momentum trade. And I'm telling you, well ahead before these markets start really dumping. Okay, so if you guys are in some positions and you come at, should I sell now and price is here or price is here or maybe even price is here, right? You have to make that decision at your portfolio. I'm just giving you the information. That's all I'm trying to do is provide you guys the info of what I'm seeing, right? And I think it's very obvious. Like the moves I'm showing you are very clean. They're very obvious, right? This is not a V. It's very much rounding here. It's very much rounding here. And that round moves perfectly into the next move of where we rejected, right? It's not like it's spiked way up above and now the round's invalidated, right? It's very much rounding here. So you have to be cautious in these zones. This is one of the bigger moves I typically look for, right? I look for bearish divs. I look for bullish divs. I look for both. I'm not always looking for bearish. I'm looking for bullish too. And I saw some bullish, right? We did see some bullish. We saw the down drop here. We saw the uptick here, right? That's a rise in strength. That's your bullish div right here. That's your reversal. Market reversed. Market came up. And then after market reversed and came back up, it's out of momentum. You got the bearish div right here. Hidden bearish div here. Hidden bearish div, right? Based off, and both of them are signaling this, not just one. The stochastic signaling it and the RSI signaling it. So that's where it's kind of like, oh man, this thing looks bad because they're both kind of giving me the same signals in the same zones. And you can see the nice build here. And it's just like, it's just trying to inch out a little more, right? And same thing here, it's just trying to get a little more. But we're in that pattern now where it just doesn't make sense to try and hold a position here. Unless you're in some long-term plays that you bought at low prices, you know, like down here and stuff like that. I would say like, if you guys bought here, like it's probably worth the hold. Even if price can go lower, doesn't matter. Why? Because I think if you bought, I'll tell you this, if you bought here You bought here and you bought here, I would have told you done the right thing. Why? Why would I have told you that?
You bought the lows, not the highs.
You bought the lows, not the highs. Exactly. I would not have all shamed you for buying these positions because you're not buying this and then buying this and then buying this and then buying this. That's how you lose money. You lose money by buying the highs. This is a high. It's not a low. As much as people, oh, well, it's down X amount, so it's technically a low. No, it's not. It's the high of the directional move. Wait for the pullback before you take an entry. If that pullback is to the current trend, then take that at the trend, right? That's a good position. Sure. Take a long spot position from here, and if price goes up, great. If price breaks this position, you should have safety measures in place to sell that, because more than likely it's going to drop down hard, then it's going to bounce back up. Hope's going to kick back in, it's going to hit the channel, and it's going to drop again. Again, I don't provide financial advice. I'm just showing you guys a strategy so you can make money. Now, let's say you're DCA. Again, let's say you don't trade at all. Your buys are here, 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 here. And if price pulls back significantly, say just double bottoms, it's here. But it's not here. This is not a low. It's not. If you thought the low, if you think this trend continues, then your low is here. It's down at 39.60. That's where your low is. And if price rips, guess what? It'll come back down. When it hits your channel, that's your low. And you could be like, well, I could have just bought here because price went up here and came back and hit my channel, held. Okay. You had confirmation here. You didn't have confirmation here. That's how you know, like, kind of what you're buying, where you're buying, and so on and so forth. Same thing with Bitcoin. Like I tell people, like, you're buying here, it's just dumb. And a lot of the coins I provided you guys the other day, all those coins, every single one of them, floor price, rolling the floor, rolling the floor, rolling the floor. And I think they're good projects. I think they're just being ignored on purpose. If BitBoy is telling you about a coin, it's not a buy. If any crypto influencer tells you about a coin, it is not a buy. Tell me one influencer that has told you guys, and I'm talking big ones, big influencers, that has told you guys about a coin before it pumped 50x, 20x, 100x. Anybody?
Crickets.
Because
Nope,
they
but I
don't
did.
do that.
I bought the Wilder World at 42 cents and caught that nice little pump.
You got it? You got
Yeah.
the what? There you go. See?
And I already took 40 bucks. Well, I only put 100 in and I already took 40 bucks profit.
There you go. That's a good profit. That's
Yeah.
a good profit. But that's how you have to think about these markets. They're temporary things. That's it, right? Especially in a bear market. These are temporary moves. This move is temporary. The market needs to settle. That's basically it at the end of the day. Now, do I think that this looks good? I think it looks amazing, guys. Look, we talked about this, right? You got your bigger distribution over here, bigger distribution over here, and we're coming into an accumulation zone. I definitely think we're moving into an accumulation zone. I just think the middle of that, or the lower portion of that, I think it's deeper than what people think, right? It just takes time. Look, time. That's all it is. All this is, this and this and this, it's all noise. Noise. That's all it is. Look at how this thing curves out. Distribution into accumulation. You don't buy the highs. And if the move's going to move higher again, get confirmation. It needs to break out and then test, come back, consolidate. Boom, you got a solid position to enter. Because it's basically the same position you would take if you'd have bought here. There's no price difference between 24.4 and price breaking out of 25 and then coming back to 25.1 or 25.2. You are losing $300 if you could have even bought a whole Bitcoin. Confirmation is key with these things. It's risk to reward. Your reward is just not here. It's not. You got this high end right here, and I think QT will continue to hold price below here. I think what we're looking at in the bigger scheme of things is just this, right? Filling out the lower band here. Just like we filled out the higher distribution band here. See how price moved? See how price is moving? Half circle, half circle. And let's say you're like, well, you drew it out too far. Okay, let's go with another logic. Let's say maybe I did. Did you miss the bottom? I drew that one tighter. Bottom wouldn't occur until halfway through the circle. Now, don't get me wrong, previous cycles were a little bit different, right? A little bit different. But you can't deny clear distribution zones. Clear, precise. Not distribution, accumulation. Clear and precise accumulation zones. Just like you can't deny distribution zones, and then accumulation zones, and then distribution zones, and then accumulation zones. See how this is like one big half circle? And if you look at this from a bigger perspective, what do you see right there? What do you see right here? Anybody? Nobody sees it?
The big accumulation.
Yeah. It's a big accumulation zone. And look at this. Look what happened in the middle of that accumulation zone. A nice big run up. Look at how big that run up was, guys. Look at that. Basically all the way back to where it started over here. And then what happened? Now, some people are like, well, this is COVID. This is a black swan. This is on. Did anybody know COVID was coming until it came? No. Did anybody know the government was going to lock people down? No. So, yeah, it's COVID. Doesn't mean that it wasn't foreseen in the chart because we had a nice accumulation already forming. To me, this looks eerily similar to kind of where we're at now. Right? Eerily similar. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry.
I kind of think like, I don't know, you pointed this out a long time ago, and I notice it all the time. It's kind of like the chart like shows you what news events could happen prior. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It's very strange. So think about Luna. Think about what was the other one you called recently? They had a bridge hack and they dropped right down to that line you had. Damn. Can't remember the name.
Quan, K-A-Q-A-N.
The news really follows the charts. It really does. Like if there's not a big enough news story, they will just make a smaller news story seem bigger to make it go to where the charts are leading. It's
correct.
Really what.
Well, I honestly, I think I do agree with you, but I also think at the same time, I think at the same time, a lot of this is already known, right? And I don't think COVID is known or anything like that. I think that price is just, it was going to go there one way or another. This just over exacerbates the move.
If,
Right.
if COVID hadn't happened, it would have been something else that they just made a
Correct.
big deal.
Correct. And that's kind of what I'm looking at here, and that's really kind of what I'm trying to teach you guys is like you got to look for these things, right? They do take a little bit of an eye to look for, but this is really what I'm typically looking for. I'm looking for these bigger distributions, these bigger accumulations, so on and so forth. This is the big accumulation here. You never miss the bottom, even if price remained elevated here. It's this drop is not about COVID. It's about a retest of liquidity. That's all it is. And if you look at it from here, from this standpoint, what did they want to retest? They wanted to retest this liquidity, right? They wanted to check the liquidity. Why did they want to check it? They wanted to catch the buyers that remained at this level. That's what gave them the momentum to push the price out. They would not have gotten this momentum if this never occurred. You need a good capitulation event, aka a flush out, to create a market. That's why, like, even if price remains elevated here, at some point it's just going to go boom and then start to move back out of that, right? And then just continue to go from there.
It's gonna come for the COVID liquidity.
It's going to shoot down. I mean, even if it doesn't come for the COVID, even if it doesn't come for that, it's going to at least come back for this. Now, does it have to stay there? No, look at COVID, boom, in and out, in and out. That's on the weekly. Look over here on the daily. They basically dropped this thing in 2 days. You just got to be ready to put your finger on the trigger when it happens. Right? Can't be too scared, but oh, I gotta wait for lower. I gotta wait for lower. If price is here, you should be looking to buy, right? Even if price could go deeper, it doesn't matter. Like once this flush starts moving, you got to get in. So that's really the biggest thing that I wanted to point out here. And that's really what I think is going on here in this zone. That's why, like, all this to me is just noise. It's just noise at the end of the day. I'm not worried about it going to 30K or 25K or any of that stuff. Like, I know where price is working its way towards, and I'm going to stay, kind of on that path that price will continue to do what it does. And price will, this is just how price works, guys. It really is, right? Same thing that happened here. Look, they retested the low here. Do you guys notice? Look, if I take, let me do this real quick. Let me just show you something. So this is our drop. This is our A, this is our B, and this is our C, right? Now look over here. This is our A, this is our B, this is our C. You see how this works? That's why you can't get, this doesn't even matter. It just doesn't matter. Because price is it's gonna do the same thing. The same way we double bottomed here, we double topped here. And really, we'll end up coming back down again. Whether it's retesting the 15, going down to 12, maybe 8, whatever. Maybe they push through a little further, right? They do one of these big moves and it comes down a lot further, but that will recover fast. So you got to be ready with that. So this is really the bigger move I'm looking for here with Bitcoin. That's really one of what I wanted to point out today. I do have something that I got to do, and I also got to make dinner and stuff like that. But if you guys have any fast questions real quick, I can answer them. Otherwise, this is kind of where I'll probably end it tonight, and then we'll chat again this coming Monday.
Will, real quick, when you say that you're going to have your finger ready to go and buy, what do you what exchange do you use? Offspring or Binance? I mean, I'm not Binance. Coinbase to get your money in quick,
Yeah.
buy
Well,
and get out.
I have money already sitting on Coinbase. I don't think Coinbase is going under.
Okay.
They're a
Okay.
stock company, so you're pretty much protected there, right?
Okay, cool.
Do I think it's smart to have a lot of money on there? No. I do have enough for what I want to buy when the spike happens. And then, if I can catch it, again, this happened in multiple days, right? If I can catch it, most alts will continue to drop even as Bitcoin's recovering. So I can get some really nice entries on alts if something like this occurs again.
Okay, that's what I do. So I was just making sure I was doing it correctly. That's all.
Yeah. The only place I'm using right now is Coinbase. I think there's a lot of FUD around Binance. I think it could really drive Binance to a liquidity crisis. I don't know at the end of the day if they're going to have that liquidity crisis. I'm not trusting Binance very much. I don't like the fact that they hide everything.
What do you feel about KuCoin?
Hey, Will,
I have money on KuCoin.
what stable coin are you buying on Coinbase to hold your money on?
Most of my money, I'll be real with you guys, is USDT. That's primarily what I utilize. So I know USDC is pretty safe too. I would not touch BUSD personally. They had a peg issue for a little while once that Paxos news came out, and I think like once you see something like that, it really kind of scares you to kind of touch something like that, right? So I've never honestly used BUSD, never thought it was a safe product, so that's always been my approach with that one.
Cool, thank you.
All right. We'll call it there. I'm sorry, guys. I will go through more charts. We will meet on Monday. It's only a couple days. And this Monday is also a holiday. So that's good. That means no markets open. So we'll get ahead of the run in on Tuesday so we can kind of look and see what we can find and get into on Tuesday. I gave you guys a bunch of coins in Discord. Go through the channels. I'm going to tell you what channels real quick. So go through the long-term, short-term, and researching. The researching are coins that I'm looking at. I have not bought. You can look into them if you like them. I think they look pretty cool. I just haven't had enough time to research them to feel that they're safe. But if you think or find them safe, you can always invest in them. Long term is things that I'm looking at buying, and short term is things that I may buy to kind of temporarily hold. Which I added another one on there. I think it was Doge Chain, and that one will probably run into the market for a little bit. I might even hold that going into the next market. I just want to see how this thing pans out with Bitcoin. And once this thing pans out with Bitcoin, I could probably catch that a lot lower. If I can get that a lot lower, then I'll probably hold it going into the next market, but it's something I plan on definitely dumping into the next market, like immediately. Another thing too, is if you guys go to my current buys, those are all those things in my current buys, Will's current buys under Will's Outlook, the announcements channel and all that stuff like that. It says Will's current buys. I have purchased all those so far. So you guys already can kind of see what I paid. EOS, by the way, we talked about that. I do want to kind of point that one out. Successful trade so far. 123 currently. We called that, I think, roughly around like $1.90 or something like that. I got in roughly around 90. I think I told you guys around 90. Maybe $1.90, something like that. But either way, you're up. So definitely a decent trade on this one. So it's something I'm going to continue to hold because I think that this trade reversal is going to play out big. Right. I've got a target of $2.19. If Bitcoin continues to stay elevated, kind of playing the range here, that's going to allow room for alts to run. So that's why you have to kind of have your positions in. Don't chase something that's pumped. I'm telling you guys 100%. I want you new people to understand it. Do not chase something that's pumped. Go ahead, Danny.
Hey, well, I don't have a question. Just let you know we appreciate you.
Yeah, for
That's
sure,
all.
guys. Definitely. Again, we'll meet on Monday. Sorry to cut the meeting short. I have a few priorities I got to take care of, and I got my daughter and stuff like that. So we'll try to get on.
Thank you, Will.
No problem, guys.
Have a lovely weekend.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
See you.
Bye, guys.